Welcome everyone, and thanks for coming. And it was actually a year ago at this very event when we first talked about the commitment, the renewed commitment we were going to make to men's and women's swimming and diving here at ASU. And with the support of Bart Ware and Rob Richardson, with whom I had spoken previously, really determined that this is going to be an elite program. And we certainly believe that today's announcement is further confirmation of that commitment. So you don't get to this place like we are today without the help of a lot of folks. So I want to first of all thank our staff members who were very, very involved in the process and did, I thought, a very stealth job in keeping things appropriately privileged and confidential. So to Dave Cohen and to Amy Schramm and Rocky Harris and Steve Webb and Don Bakke, Greg McElroy, Maggie Emmons. We really want to thank you guys for your role in making sure we got here today in the way that we've done. And I also want to thank two of my good friends who happen to work with Bob Bowman. That's Peter Carlisle and Phil DiPicciotto of the agency Octagon, a powerhouse in the business, as you know. And fortunately, I can claim them as friends. So as this process unfolded, it was nice to work with Peter and with Phil to be able to get this done. And then certainly a special thanks to Dr. Crow. Dr. Crow really encourages us and indeed insists that we put no limitations on our aspirations when we're out seeking the best available to be head coaches for our student athletes. And so he said, don't limit yourself in any way. So to have that authority to go out and seek not just renowned, but also world-class head coaches in our sports is really a tribute to Dr. Crow, so we want to make sure we thank him. And then during our process, as we try to evaluate candidates and seek the qualities that are so important to us, if we discover a coach who has a potential mutual interest, as far-reaching as that person might seem out of ASU's reach, if we think there's a glimmer of a chance that we can sell the vision and entice world-renowned folks to join us, we're going to go for it. And we did that in the case of Bob Bowman. Bob's reputation, his accomplishments in the swimming world, worldwide is extraordinary. And you can spend literally hours researching and reading up on the accomplishments of Bob Bowman. Bob, very quickly in our discussions, was clear to me and Dave Cohen, who was really my right-hand person in doing this role, doing this process. He's a visionary. He's passionate about teaching and developing world-class swimmers who are serious students and superb athletes. He's a program builder. That's what we are bringing to ASU. We are bringing people who want to bring the game that makes us elite programs. And so Bob shares the very high aspiration, expectations that President Crow and all of us at ASU have for the ASU swimming and diving programs. And so I am honored to introduce our new ASU men's and women's swimming coach, Bob Bowman.
Thank you. I'd like to start off by thanking President Crow and Ray here for the vision, which is the reason I'm here. When I first started, knew about this opportunity and I started talking to some people, I didn't really know much about it, but after one meeting with this guy, I knew this was serious and something that should really be considered. I am very much about excellence and the process that plays in an education of young people. And I don't think there's any better education than the pursuit of excellence in academics or athletics or any field of your given that you'd like to pursue. And I'm so happy to be here in a program that has full support of the administration and so much enthusiasm behind it from alumni, from the people that are already here in the program, and I look forward to bringing other outstanding athletes and students into this school to help us build the program that we really want to have here. I think to some people this may be somewhat of a surprise, and in many ways I might be the most surprised. But you know, when I looked seriously at the potential of this program and this university, it's clear that this can be such a great story, not just for the program here or for ASU, but for collegiate swimming, collegiate Olympic sports, and it could be a model for others to follow. Because, you know, a lot of the Olympic sports in the college space, you know, they've had some ups and downs, and there's been some ups and downs here. And I would really like to be a part of a team that can show what can happen when there's real enthusiasm and energy and resources put into an Olympic sport and what it could bring to a community and a university. So I'd love to take questions.
If you have a question, please raise your hand and Jordan will bring you the mic.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob, obviously you coach. You've got 5 or 6 Olympians with you.
Yes.
So are they going to train here? How do you spend the division of your time? And the second question would be, obviously you're the coach in Michigan. You know, going back into recruiting from a club program.
Sure.
How do you address that and be successful as obviously the great coach you are?
Got it. Well, I'll do the Olympic piece first. You know, there's no question that I have a commitment to those athletes to help them be their best in the Olympic Games. And I do feel that some of them will be training here. I don't know if all of them will be, but definitely some of them will be pursuing their Olympic preparation here. And the way I look at it is this. One of the things we want to do is energize what's going on here, bring a higher level of thinking, a higher level of training, a higher level of expectation, and there's no better way to do that than by exposing our athletes to those level of athletes. It clearly is a challenge for me personally because, you know, there's a time period here where I'm going to be wearing 2 hats. And that was one of the things that we talked about when I accepted the position was, you know, if this had been a year from now, it'd be pretty easy. I'd go to the Olympics, come here, and we'd be going. But, you know, I am going to see these guys through to their final Olympic preparation. And what I think it's going to call for is just some flexibility on everyone's part. Because, you know, this is going to be a long-term project for me at ASU. We're going to lay a foundation, we're going to recruit aggressively, we're going to bring in the right student athletes, and we're going to build over time, step by step by step. And I think that by having these Olympic athletes here this year, it'll kind of kickstart that process. It'll certainly give us some you know, attention. It will bring some excitement to what we're doing. And clearly one of the best things that we could do is have those athletes perform well at the next Olympic Games. That would kind of set us up for the future. So while I am going to have to be wearing multiple hats and spending a lot of time doing a lot of things, I'm willing to make that commitment for this time period and then transition more into, you know, maybe something that's a little more focused, I guess. I don't know. I think I'm hyper-focused as it is, but, you know, focus on one thing instead of 2 things. But I don't think it'll be a problem. I did that at Michigan. 2008, it worked extremely well, and it actually was a really symbiotic relationship. Both things helped each other, particularly recruiting. I think that one of the things that I would fall back on is my history of recruiting at Michigan, which was quite good. And one of the hallmarks that we're going to use here is, you know, if we're going to recruit the very top athletes, those that are in the top 10, 15% of high school kids, every one of those want to swim in the Olympics. The athletes who are going to win NCAA championships are going to swim in the Olympics and want to, and they need to know that they have a vehicle for doing that. So this is a perfect way to demonstrate how that will work for them.
I will add that one of the things that was particularly important to us with Bob having his responsibility to prepare competitors for our country, that what we wanted to make sure was that we could have a commitment to work with our ASU athletes hand in glove with athletes who have Olympic aspirations. And we want to provide a vehicle whereby we are providing the best for our own ASU student athletes, but also serving our country by allowing and encouraging Olympic presence here in our community. It just made a lot of sense because it isn't a short-term project. The goal here is to advance ASU swimming and diving to elite status for a long time. And that's why this works, in our opinion.
Right.
Bob, you said perhaps you're as surprised as anybody that you're taking this job. Can you just go into it? Is this just the right opportunity at the right time of your life? Just the factors that sort of, you know, made you come to the conclusion that this is what you should do?
Right. You know, quite frankly, when I heard that this job was open, I had already been thinking that, you know, in my post-Michael life, which is approaching, I think it is, thought I was there already. And we did pretty well. We made it 20 minutes without saying his name, so that was good. You know, I started thinking about what I wanted to do with my coaching and, you know, where we were with our club in Baltimore, which was a good place. And I think one of the things that I really missed was being in a collegiate environment. I really missed that at Michigan, and I felt like while I'm very confident I made the right decisions at that time about what I should have done and what I did with my career, if I ever had an opportunity to go back to university and sort of kind of get back into that environment, that I wanted to take it. And I just wanted it to be at a place where something special could happen. And that's what I saw when I started talking to Ray, Dave. You know, I fully believed that they are behind us 100%, and I wanted to be in a program where we could build something. It wasn't already pre-made, you know? And this ticked all the boxes. It had facilities. It had good weather. You don't know how excited I am not to mention the word snow in recruiting. They have a strong diving program. They have, you know, an array of academic choices. You know, so there's everything that I would want in a school is here. So I started to think about it really seriously, and it just felt right. You know, and really when I had the final meeting with these guys, I just walked out of there and I thought, you know, if I get a chance to do this, I'm going to. And then you reported about it.
That's Jeff Medcalf.
Yeah, I know Jeff. We go way back, but yeah, I just told somebody that was my worst performance ever when you asked me that question at the last night of the meet last week. Anybody else? Yeah,
Bob,
sure.
Are you going to, you're, as I understand, you and Michael are co-owners of MB of North Baltimore. Are you still going to be in ownership of that, or how's that going to happen?
That's a good question. We're actually co-owners of a business that runs the facility where North Baltimore trains. MBAC is a nonprofit, you know, organization which I do sit on the board of, and I'll be leaving that position. But we intend to keep operating that facility, the Meadowbrook Aquatic and Fitness Center, and remain, you know, be partners with MBAC. It's big part of our lives. And, you know, what form that takes, I'm not really sure, but we'll definitely be running the facility and kind of, you know, managing that a little bit.
Bob, do you know when you'll be starting?
I do.
When
Well,
will
today
that
I'm
be?
starting,
Is
but,
it today officially? Okay.
I'm going to physically be here in August full time. I'm going to be coming back and forth a couple times between then. I'm going to be putting a staff in place that will be here right away. And, you know, one of the things that we talked about was I really needed my athletes. You can imagine it's a shock to the ones I was working with and have committed to work with. And one of the things we really wanted to do was get through this summer's preparation for the World Championships and the Summer Nationals with me in Baltimore. And that also gives the club a chance to transition in a good way, while really the main thing I would be doing here anyway is recruiting, and I can do that all the time. So that's going to be my main focus, really organization, getting a staff in place, and recruiting while I finish up the coaching with those guys for this summer, and then I'll be here full time when the students come back.
Any thoughts on your staff yet? Have you begun
I
to
do
think
have
about
some
that at all?
thoughts, but quite honestly, until today, I haven't really allowed myself to get too much into that. I wanted to make sure that we had everything. But when I walk out of here, I'll probably be making some phone calls.
One of the things I'll add is that, again, one of the real strengths of President Crow, as he said, as you go about this process, be creative, be entrepreneurial, be more flexible than others might be to make this happen. And given the circumstances, that was very necessary. And so we've been able to do that, and we will continue to evolve. We have an opportunity here to essentially be very different from any other swimming and diving program in the collegiate space. And Dr. Crow's DNA and my DNA is that we like that. So we'll figure ways to be entrepreneurial. We'll figure ways to make sure we're much more embedded in our community in terms of learn to swim programs and things. So we're excited about a different model here with Bob. At the end of the day, we want champions on campus and we want champions for our country, and we'll figure it out.
There you go.
Well, we'll go ahead and ask the question about the white elephant in the room. Is Michael going to be joining you here in Tempe?
He will join us here, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When you were at Michigan, you just coached the men, is that
That's
right?
correct,
Okay,
yes.
so can you talk about doing a combined men's and women's program, and then the kind of post-collegiate program you'd like to have long term, not
Sure.
just
Oh, yeah.
not
of
just
course.
with Michael, but
No,
but
yeah, of course.
longer.
I'm very excited about coaching men and women. As a matter of fact, that was one of my things that really was most attractive about this job. Because of Michael, I've gotten a lot of, people think I'm mainly a men's coach, but in reality, most of my women have done better than a lot of the men. So I like the balance of that and what it brings. It also brings some additional resources in terms of NC2A, in terms of, how you can staff it, and you get a lot more flexibility. So I'm very excited about coaching both. I think when you have both, it's more attractive to a larger number of recruits, and it also provides a much better balance of just really energy in what you're doing. As far as the post-grad group, I would envision as we go forward a post-grad group that is largely composed of ASU alumni. That would be my goal. Not that we wouldn't take someone else who is exceptional that might help us, but I think the long-term goal would be to produce those athletes from our program.
Any other questions? I know before we go, we had talked about the Learn to Swim program.
Sure.
Also a focus.
Yeah. I'd like to mention a couple things. One of my passions is promoting the sport of swimming, which is one of the reasons I'm sitting in this chair. It's one of the things that this opportunity brings. And I'm also for anything that teaches kids how to swim. So, I'm a big fan of Make a Splash and the initiative that they've got going, and they've done a lot of great work, and I look forward to helping with that. I'm also, have been very involved in Michael Phelps Foundation. I've been on their board since its inception, and we're using his IM program to teach kids all over the country. We're in, 35 states with the Boys and Girls Clubs, and we're the provider for the Learn to Swim provider for Special Olympics International. So I'm very passionate about that, and I can't wait to expand our presence in Learn to Swim here. It's going to be great. Yes.
Bob or Ray, do you want to mention Frank Bush's help in this combined entity and USA Swimming, which
Yeah.
Bob has been a representative in international, national, and Olympic competitions?
We shall indeed.
Yes.
One of the things that inspired me, and Jeff Metcalf caught me at Bart's house for the reception the other day for USA Swimming, and talked about the Splash program, and we got a chance to talk about our desire to really be a leader in the Learn to Swim initiative. And certainly Frank Bush is the one who really started firing me up, along with Bart Ware, about exactly what could happen if you really were collaborative and sensible in that effort. So I give Frank Bush a lot of credit. Also give him credit for consulting with me about what are some of the candidates that we should really look at very seriously. And so Frank Bush has been a big player in this, and we anticipate that we will continue to collaborate and support each other's efforts, particularly when it comes to the Learn to Swim programs.
Very good.
I wanted to ask you too about when you were here in Mesa last week, you saw some of the local club swimmers. I know you can't talk about people specifically, but what do you just think about the clubs that are here that you could recruit from potential?
I think it's a tremendous resource, and traditionally Arizona has been a source of good recruits. There are a number of clubs and some very large clubs now. I see the trend is clubs are combining, right? And so you have these mega clubs, which provide a ready-made place to view talent and connect with people. And I would very much be in favor of getting Arizona swimmers in here, state of Arizona swimmers in here.
So you spoke about the clubs in Arizona swimming,
Yep.
and presently there is not a club at the pool at ASU.
Right.
Is there any plans in the future of possibly developing a club as well there?
I guess somebody asked me some questions the other day, and I said, basically for the last week I've been focused on one question. And now that one's answered, I can start thinking about the other stuff. I just honestly haven't thought about it very much.
And last question, part two. Robert.
Yes.
Hi, Bob.
Hey,
Rob Richardson on the board for Sun Devil Swimming Association.
Sure.
So, and speaking of Learn to Swim and water safety, we're actually hosting an event May 2nd, so
Saw
a week
that.
from tomorrow.
Yes.
And so we invite you to come to that. I don't know what your schedule is,
Thank
but
you.
So we've opened that up to the public, and Sun Devil Athletics has helped us with that, with access to the facility.
Yeah,
Boys and girls clubs are involved.
Awesome.
Rural Metro is our partner for that. So I just want to mention that we started that activity, and I think that's some of what you heard.
Yeah.
Which we're very happy that you're here, and
yeah.
and glad that you're going to be part of the program.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be a part of it. I actually read about that. It looks great. Great day. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
For
guys.
coming. Good work.